Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Annette Tashiro, and the MC for today. It's great to see you all as we gather for the Jodo Shinshu observance of Hoonko to commemorate Saint Shinran Shonin's passing. Hoonko is a time to express our gratitude to founder Shinran. On this occasion, we assemble together to pay our homage to his memory and to express our sincere appreciation for his teachings of the Nembutsu. We will now have the offering of the flower and light. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Hoonko guest speaker, Reverend Thomas Okano. Reverend Okano is a Waipahu High School graduate, class of 1956. He graduated from the University of Hawaii at Manoa in 1960 and continued his education at Ryukoku University in Kyoto, where he received his master's degree in Shin Buddhism in 1964. Reverend Okano then completed his PhD in 1967 and Fukyoshi course at Dendoin. He returned to Hawaii and served as resident minister at Muilili Hongwanji, Lihui Hongwanji, and Wahiawapu temples before becoming head minister, or Rimbang, at the Honpa Hongwanji Hilo Betsuin in 1990. In 2007, Reverend Okano became the 15th bishop of the Honpa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii. He retired in 2011 after 43 years of service. Presently, he continues his mission as a volunteer. Reverend Okano and his wife Michiko have one daughter, 2 sons, and 4 granddaughters, all residing in Hawaii. So more information, please read the newsletter. Please welcome Reverend Okano to the podium.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to begin this morning this Hoonko Dharma talk by sharing with you a passage from Shinran Shonin's writing called Jodo Shinshu, his main writings. And in that, Jodo Shinshu is composed of 6 chapters, and this is now chapter number 4, and it goes as follows. When foolish beings possess of blind passions, the multitudes caught in birth and death and defiled by evil karma, realizing mind and the practices that Amida directed them for their going forth, they immediately join the truly settled of Mahayana. Now this, as I was reading, I come to realize, hey, this is not an easy passage. And I like to perhaps refer to this as I continue my presentation this morning. Okay? But today we are here to observe the Shinran Shonin's memorial service. But not necessarily memorializing Shinran, but to express our deep gratitude for Shinran Shonin to show us the way of our realization of enlightenment in the Pure Land of the Buddha. Now, I won't ask you to raise your hand, but how many of you would like to go to the Pure Land? Think to yourself. How many of you, well, don't care to go at this time? Yeah? Shinran had the same feeling. And in fact, when his disciple Yuan asked him roughly as follows, he said, Master Shinran, I know Jodo Shinshu is my way of realizing my birth and Pure Land and attain enlightenment. But I don't have that that real urge to be born into the Pure Land right now. What's wrong with me? Perhaps it's a question many of you have. What's wrong with me? I still rather prefer to live in this world of uncertainty, the world filled with, all kinds of self-centered individuals. What's wrong with me? Shinran said, well, thank you for asking that question. I had the same doubt as you have right now. And now that I have become one with Amida Buddha, I'm walking the path of Pure Land towards Pure Land. Now, I want you to walk together with me. But no one is perfect from the very beginning. And Shinran himself, this is not Shinran's word now, Shinran himself felt that realization of enlightenment is not that easy. It's not easy because we are, as I mentioned earlier, so self-centered individuals. Yesterday, prior to my coming here, I checked with the Reverend Bert here how to get to this Hongwanji. The last time I was here was dedication of this temple. That was several years ago. And for some reason, yes, I did come, I was invited to speak at the old temple, the single dwelling house converted into a temple. But I remember at that time, I came somewhere from this side, behind. Yeah. And now, I'm told, coming from Kule, is it Kule or Kailo Road? Anyway, that main road. I was kind of confused, so I asked him, and he said, okay, after you pass the fork and take left road, that I knew. And he says, there's 7-Eleven. If you pass 7-Eleven, you have passed. So make a left turn prior to 7-Eleven. And I was driving and coming into Kailo town. And I recall, and I saw on my left-hand front, McDonald's. He said 7-Eleven. Really, he meant McDonald's. See, something tells me in myself that I think I'm right. And he is wrong. He directed me wrong. So I turned one lane into this, to my left. Sure enough, I'm blood lost. There's no Hongwanji here. So I turned around again and then proceeded to this way. And sure enough, there's a 7-Eleven. And I turned, make sure, following this direction now, one street prior to 7-Eleven there, and I was able to find my way. But that little incident still remind me, yeah, I'm wearing this koromo, I'm wearing this kesa, I'm holding the fancy looking old nenju, but still I'm self-centered. Not self-centered, but I say, I think, I know, I think, I'm sure this is the way, And this is, if you were to use the self-centered, it's fine. Selfish is fine. Ego-centered is fine. But all this combined together, as Shinran Shonin said, filled with bonno. Yeah? Bonno is called klesha in Sanskrit, which means everything, we think everything is going, I want everything to go my way. And for sure, nothing goes your way. Always there's something stumbling block. But, if something happens, you want to blame somebody else. It's not. I'm always right. But see, after being minister so long, Hongwanji minister so long, one wrong turn I made, and I realized I'm wrong. And I have to bow my head, put my head down, and turn around and return to the main road, and found this place. Well, I wasn't going to start with this little anecdote, but since I started off this way, I like to continue. Today, the Sony golf tournament is going on. In football, if you turn on TV, there are all kinds of interesting programs going on. NFL football game, and this basketball game, and so forth. But despite all that, you are here today. And I think that is something remarkable. Temple filled with Kailua Hongwanji, now it's called Windward Windward Buddhist Church. Filled with the members who gather, and many of you have this Monto Shikisho on to express our appreciation to Shinran Shonin. I hope that's your main purpose of coming here. Why Shinran Shonin? Because this gathering is called Honpo in Japanese, which means gathering to express our gratitude. Gathering to express our gratitude to who? Shinran Shonin. Particularly on this day, on his Memorial Day, express our gratitude for showing us the way of our attainment of enlightenment, whether you like it or not. Okay? Our attainment of enlightenment through the working power of Onen Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, which is the other power of Amida Buddha. This is the reason why we are here. This is the reason why we have temple. This is the reason why we have shrine and shrine within the altar here, Shinran Shonin, Renyo Shonin, and express our gratitude. Otherwise, temple need not exist. But temple exists for this community because this temple propagates the teaching of Shinran Shonin, which is in line with the Buddhist teaching, goes back to 600 years ago to India, to realize our attainment of enlightenment. There are many Buddhist sects in the Buddhist tradition, but Jodo Shinshu is one of the way to realize that goal of our enlightenment, our peace in the pure land. Pure land. We have however, let's put it that way. We like to, Shinran Shonin said this is the way to attain enlightenment, but how many of us really say, okay, I want to go to Pure Land. But to go to Pure Land doesn't necessarily mean you have to die. You can be Pure Land in this life. That doesn't mean, again, to become Buddha, but in your hearts and minds, you reside in the Pure Land together with Amida Buddha and able to say the Nembutsu and then live this life. This life which is full of suffering. And yet, in this midst of suffering, midst of things that just don't go the way we want them to go, still we find, yes, this is the life I like to live through Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, reciting the Buddha's name, appreciating Buddha's compassion, realizing the wisdom of Amida Buddha, compassion of the Buddha, somehow make me understand what life is, make me bow my head, and make me walk the path together. We confirm that by attending the services and reciting the Onenbutsu together. Now, a little while ago, I used the term Bonbu, filled with Bonno. Yeah. Bonbu is a term that even the passage I read at the beginning of the service, yeah, Shinran Shonin says, when foolish being possessed with blind passion, foolish being possessed with blind passion, who are we talking about? We're talking about myself, your life. Yeah? Foolish being possessed of blind passion. Blind passion because we are deep within our heart we feel, this is the way I want my life to be. And this is the way I want the world to look at me. And I want everything to go the way I want it to go. And realizing it's not possible, we get frustrated, we get angry, we don't know what we'll do. Yeah. This is the life we're leading today. All of you look like a beautiful Otogi-sama, Buddha today. But I have no idea what you were thinking in your mind. And we have all kinds of thoughts going through our minds, all kinds of feeling that we are able to conceal before this, with all kinds of shields that we have in ourselves. Well, this is the life of Bonbu. You and I have to go through this life with Bonbu. But when you really think about who is Bonbu, yeah, immediately you think about someone other than yourself. There's an interesting story about this well-known Japanese writer, Shima Ryotaro. Shima Ryotaro is he's not living today. He passed away several years ago. But he's a popular writer in Japan. Wrote all kind of historical novel, some fiction, some non-fiction, but popular. And many of his writings, novels, were made into TV series and movies and so forth. Well, Shima Ryotaro was brought up in the Jodo Shinshu family. Okay? We are Jodo Shinshu. Okay? But Jodo Shinshu is founded by Honen Shonin. So at home, when he was growing up, people talked about Honen Shonin and respected life and teaching of Honen Shonin. And eventually he enrolled in the elementary school run by Jodo Mission in Japan. When he was about 5 or 6 grader, in a history book, a history class, the term Bonbu appeared in the textbook for the first time. Okay. Now the sensei turned to the class and said, "Okay, what is Bonbu, or who is Bonbu?" Nobody knew about that. It's the first time they encountered that term, the word Bonbu. So sensei said, "Okay, the homework. Go home and find out what Bonbu is." Everybody went home, they studied, prepared for the answer for the next big question. Following day, sensei says, "Okay, class, what is Bonbu?" Everybody shut their hand up, raise their hands up and said, "Bonbu is ignorant person. Bonbu is foolish person." That's true. Yeah, that's true. The correct answer. Then sensei said, "Okay, now who in this class is considered Bonbu?" Everybody started looking around. Not me, certainly, it's not me. What if that Hongpo is the guy who's always sitting in the front and scolded by sensei, or the girl that always daydreams looking outside the window and always reminded by sensei. Maybe she's the Hongpo, or that guy up there is Hongpo. Certainly, it wasn't me. I'm not Hongpo. Then sensei said, okay, I'll give you the answer. All of you are Hongpo, including myself. We are all Hongpo. And the students all, couldn't believe his word. Wow! At the most, maybe we might be Hongpo, but certainly not you, sensei. You are knowledgeable sensei, knowledgeable person, and you always teach us all kinds of things. You cannot be a Hongpo. You are not foolish beings. You are not ignorant person. But sensei says, no, I am also a Hongpo. And then next question he says, who in the history of Japanese history claimed the person he himself is a Hongpo? First time in his history. Nobody knew the answer. He said, I'll give you the answer. That person is Shinran Shonin, which is true. Shonin is the first person who began to claim himself as Hongpo. And Shinran followed Sensei Shonin, and Shinran also claimed himself to be Hongpo. But historically, Shonin was the first. When Sensei said, Shinran Shonin also claims himself to be Hongpo, students couldn't believe that. No way! Shinran Shonin is highly respected by all of us here, all the Jodo Shinshu people, and a person like Shinran, how can he be considered Hongpo? The sensei continued on and said, explain what Hongpo really means, and explained to the class true meaning of the word Hongpo. Foolish being filled with blind passion. That's what we are. No matter what we want to do, we can't do anything. This is the way our life is. Shinran Shonin says also in his writing, and I like to quote his words, he says, we are full of ignorance and blind passion. Our desires are countless, and anger, wrath, jealousy, and envy. These are all overwhelming, arising without fault, one after another. To the very last moment of life, they do not cease or disappear or exhaust themselves. This is our life, and this is Hongpo. Of course, momentarily, you may feel like, almost like you are Buddha, And sometimes we do certain things, resort to certain action, sometimes even give up your own life for the sake of others. It happens all the time. Yes, it happens. Let me share with you one story about my experience when I was growing up in Pearl City. There was one member who lived not Pearl Harbor side, way inside of Pearl Harbor, on the shore, away from all those naval ships. But nevertheless, part of Pearl Harbor. And they had the permission to build a ramp, not really a ramp, just a 2 by 12 kind of plank extended out into the ocean. It looks shallow, but quite a bit out there. And then they had a little boat there, and then people can ride in the boat. They can ride, well, not out in the ocean, fishing and so on. When my family, my father were invited to come to some kind of gathering, we all went. I was still maybe 13 or 14 years old. And when I went to the family's home, this beach house, the water was a little murky. And first time, being there for the first time, I didn't know how deep the ocean was. But anyway, it looked safe, so we enjoyed our picnic up in the beach. Then everybody else said, oh, let's walk up to the edge of this walkway. So we all line up and walk on this plank too, but it was really, in retrospect, kind of spooky, you know. But we walk on that plank and in one straight line, one after another. And I was about the last one. And when I turned around, little kid, maybe 2-year-old, yeah, little toddler was following me. He was the last person. And the thought came to my mind, wow, this is not safe for this kid to walk on this little plank. What happens if you fall off, you know? And the water is murky. And a little while ago, someone in the host family told us there's hammerhead shark. Not a big one, a little baby like this, was swimming around. Gee, if he ever fall into the ocean, in the water, what's going to happen? I don't know how deep it is. I'm not a good swimmer myself, but I'm the closest to the boy. But I kept on thinking of that, and as I was walking, after several steps, I turned around, and he wasn't there. And when I looked in the water, sure enough, he was floating in the water. At that time, you know, what goes through your mind? I wonder how deep the water is. I couldn't see how the water is murky. I wonder if there are some, sharks, not this little, but a little bigger, swimming around here. Yeah. Besides, I'm not a good swimmer myself. If the water is above here, I may drown myself, you know. But those thoughts flashed through my mind. But next moment, I found myself in the water, jumping in the water. And good enough, it was shallow enough, you know. And wade towards the boy and carry the boy up and walk to the shore. I felt like a hero. And some members of the family, of course, thanked me for what I did. But the parents or grandparents, someone remarked really crushed my pride. He said, oh, this is the third time he fell off the plank. He can handle himself in the water. But 2-year-old little kid, I didn't know those things. And when you see a little boy in the water, what do? You jump in, you know. Well, I don't know, 100 people would do it all the time. But anyway, at that time, it occurred to my mind, I gotta jump in the water. At the possibility of losing my life, if the water goes beyond here, I'm gone. Yeah. But it was shallow, and I was able to perform heroic deeds for a few minutes. People can react to all kinds of situations. And but at the same time, because we are Gombu, what always concerns me is, what is it for me? Me, blind passion. Well, Yes, blind passion causes me to enjoy eating, enjoy sleeping, and driving to Windward side, whatever it is. But when you think about in this mental situation, what would be the most desirable, happy situation? Well, I would think happiness is taking a good nice shower or soaking in onsen, maybe in Japan, soaking in onsen, and enjoy some drinks, and eat whatever you can eat, sashimi, whatever, and enjoy yourself. This would be the happiest moment for me at that particular time. But what happens if you eat stomach full and drank enough liquid to fill up your desire to consume these things? What left after that is suffering, pain. Your stomach says, "Oh, I had enough. I was in the onsen bath for long enough. I'm getting a little lightheaded. I can't walk straight. I have to sit down and rest." All these things. Whatever you do, there seems to be the most pleasant thing for you at that moment, immediately change into cause of suffering. Well, this is the life of Honbu in our daily situation. When you are young, you don't mind eating heavy. 2 or 3 McDonald's, Big Macs, it didn't bother you. Well, 3 is too much, but but when you get a little older, instead of meat, you rather maybe prefer a fish, a little bit of vegetables, more vegetables. And at my age today, tofu, maybe umeboshi or something, I'm not sick, but anyway, my appetite gets lower, and my eyes are always bigger than my stomach. And this is the way our life of Honbu continues, filled with unknown. Yes. But as Shinran Shonin says, getting old, getting sick, and die, facing death, imminent death in our life, is all part of this life called Honbu. Common, ordinary human beings. And we cannot escape all this. We have, I think, without being told, through our life experience, we know that it's true, to be true. But Shinran Shonin says, okay, that's your life. If you prefer to live that way, that's your life, can't help. But I have found a way to change this way of life and become one in enlightenment with the Buddha. Jodo Shinshu teachings developed by Shinran Shonin is that whereas the traditional Buddhist practice is you have to practice, purify yourself, and prepare to attain enlightenment in this life. Yeah? And when you become, when you're reborn into the next life, there's still practice you need to do. Only difference is you can do your practice freely without being bothered by or no. That's the only difference. But you still have to continue practicing. What this Shinran Shonin says? No, that's not true. Shinran Shonin says, through the virtue of Amida's wisdom and compassion, the moment this body comes to an end, what's going to happen? I'll be reborn into the Pure Land already. Shinran Shonin says, Ojo Soku Jobutsu. When I die, the physical body comes to an end, I'll be reborn into the Pure Land. And what do I do in the Pure Land? Do I need to practice some more? No. The moment you become born into the Pure Land, you attain enlightenment. Ojo Soku Jobutsu. Being born into the Pure Land means you are already one in enlightenment. And this is possible because Amida Buddha have accomplished our way of attaining enlightenment through various vows. And most important one is 18th vow. Simply put, 18th vow is when you desire to be born into the Pure Land, just recite the Nembutsu and you'll be born into the Pure Land. Simple as that. And why is simple? Because it's Amida Buddha's vow, not my vow, not my practice, but Amida's practice, Amida's vow, Amida's promise. Therefore, all we need to do is just simply respond by saying Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Now, to make a long story short, to make a distinction between Honen Shonin and Shinran Shonin. Shinran also became Jodo Shinshu, Pure Land followers through guidance of Honen Shonin. But Honen Shonin says, I am Bonbu, and I can attain enlightenment by reciting the Nembutsu as many as possible, many times as possible. Nembutsu was a practice for Jodo Shinshu in the eyes of Honen Shonin. You have to recite the Nembutsu. Therefore, if you go to Jodo Shinshu services, they say 10 times 10 recitation of Nembutsu. At least you have to recite 10 times. Shinran Shonin reinterpreted the scripture and said, no, you don't have to recite 10 times. Not even once. What you need is this turning of your mind. Turning of your mind and aspire to become like Buddha in the realm of enlightenment. And that's good enough. And saying the Nembutsu times. Because we are walking the path laid by Amida Buddha's compassion, Amida Buddha's wisdom. I'm not doing the practice. Amida has accomplished our realization of birth into the Pure Land through the vows. So this is a big difference between traditional Buddhist teaching and Honen Shonin interpretation of Pure Land teaching and Shinran Shonin. We often refer to Shinran as someone who found an ultimate path of our enlightenment. And I think it's true. That's our way of saying the Nembutsu, Namo Amida, is the ultimate way of realizing good in the Pure Land. And today, we are here to express, reconfirm that in our hearts and express our gratitude to Shinran Shonin for showing us the way of our enlightenment through the And I'm very happy to be part of this service here at Windward Buddhist Temple. And I'd like to thank Windward and all of you for inviting me to be part of this special service. Shall we conclude with our names, please? Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Okano, for our lesson.